this is a follow-up to, I think it's been 4 years since we met, maybe 5.
Yeah, 2014, you weren't there yet.
Oh,
You came to
goodness,
that.
well, then it's been
You were there. Yeah.
wow, time goes. So 8 years ago. Well, we've all aged. And I made that promise to Richard back then that at some point City Hall would be renovated and we would have a permanent memorial here at City Hall. And, you know, Madhu, the library executive director, was kind enough to have the artwork on display until this moment came. Then, of course, we had trouble getting it back from her because she didn't want to give it up. But somehow Richard worked that out. I think we traded something.
I replaced it.
Yes. So, you know, it's tremendous. And I think in the city, I remember I was in second grade when this tragedy happened, and I still remember this very strongly from my youth, as a second grader. There was a student who lived on Ocean Avenue. I just remember every time driving by that family home thinking of that dad that didn't come home.
Yeah.
So I think it hit a lot of people in this area because many of the families were from around this area when this happened. And so I think it's really fitting that New London and City Hall has this memorial. And of course it's been Richard's passion to get this done. I have to thank Tom Bombria, who's on our community development staff, for really putting the work. He has shepherded this whole historic renovation of City Hall. It's had, he really only gets paid for one job, but we work him as 2 jobs, and he's done that for 2 years as being project manager for this City Hall restoration. And this is, and so he's instrumental for getting everything mounted and getting the place in shape for the ceremony. So, thank you, Richard. Thank you all for coming. And, do you want me to read?
I think you should,
Joe
because it's a nice
Courtney's.
donation, and it's
Yeah.
on the back of your program, it's a letter from Congressman Courtney, if you want to follow it with your eye.
Yeah, this is going to be a challenge, but we'll do it. So, and Congressman Courtney joined us at the library when we first had the ceremony for this artwork. And the donation to the city of New London has taken, of course, this long to get it here, but he couldn't make it today. But so this is Dear Mayor Passero. This month marks the 50th anniversary of the loss of the Navy submarine USS Thresher, which sank during deep diving tests off the coast of Massachusetts, and took the lives of 129 crew and civilian shipyard personnel on April 10, 1963. Those who perished on the Thresher were some of the best and brightest in the US Navy and included World War II and Korean War veterans, graduates of the US Naval Academy, and participants in groundbreaking undersea Arctic missions. Among those 129 brave men were residents of New London, Groton, Norwich, Gales Ferry, Mystic, Uncasville, and Jewett City. These patriots who volunteered for the silent service amidst the trying times of the Cold War paid the ultimate price in service to our country. The Thresher tragedy was the first loss of a nuclear-powered submarine at sea and remains the greatest loss of life aboard a submarine. The sacrifice made by those submariners and civilians was not in vain. Within 2 months of the sinking of the Thresher, the Navy instituted a submarine safety program known as SubSafe, a program now known worldwide for its impeccable safety record. Today, the memorial of the USS Thresher will be moved to the second floor of City Hall to serve as a permanent record of the lives lost aboard. We mourn the loss of these patriots who sacrificed everything for the safety of their fellow citizens. Their legacy is honored by the men and women who serve in today's submarine force, and their story will not be forgotten. Sincerely, Joe Courtney, Member of Congress. Well, that was wonderful. That's the first time I read that. That is wonderful. I want to acknowledge a submariner who also serves the city now as our veteran liaison and chairman of the Veteran Advisory Committee, Al Kinzel. So thank you, Al, for your service. And I don't know everybody else here, so I'm going to rely on Richard to do the rest of that. And I think that concludes my report. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to try not to say much, but I'm going to list the people who have come, who were invited to this event. Alvin Kinsall, who is New London Veterans Affairs, who was here in 2014, thank you, Al. Derek Sutton, who's in the back there in his uniform. He's the director of the Submarine Museum in Groton. Margaret Gibson, who's the Connecticut Poet Laureate. Christy Max Williams, who is the recent winner of the William Meredith Award for Poetry, and his wife, Kate Moffat. Sharon Griffiths, who produces a beautiful program. Wonderful work, Sharon. Sarah Monroe, there, who is the master framer, and we have went in. She's the one who found this beautiful gold frame with bubbles in it and seemed to be really appropriate for the roster. Cynthia Willour went back to Yale and became an Episcopal priest. Good for her. And her husband, George Willour, taught for many years at Connecticut College. They're both here. Michael Passero, Sarah Stifler Lucas, a very fine painter, and her partner, Tim Cummings, Esquire. Mark and Junior Patnode, I should mention today, is Mark's birthday. Happy birthday, Mark. And Jonas Rutger, who's our vice president for activities, is going to film this, and we're going to put it on YouTube so that there'll be a permanent record of what we did here today. And Arthur Ray said he would come. He's coming down to the Coast Guard Academy, but everybody's having events this afternoon. At the Coast Guard, at Connecticut College, what have you. But he's going to try to bring somebody from the Coast Guard to represent the Coast Guard here. I said to him, William's poem is already on the halls of the Coast Guard Academy. So cadets can take a look at it, and they don't have to be here, but they have it in the building. And Mandu Gupta, who is the director of the New London Public Library, who was very kind to host the original 2014 event. And Tony Sheridan said he was coming. Tony is the, what do you call it, the
Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce of Eastern Connecticut.
But at one point, he was somehow connected with Dominion. He got 5K, along with the DoD 5K, to produce 127 copies of this broadside to all the families of those who perished in the Thresher tragedy. So I guess that's about it. There are others who were invited, who haven't responded. There are a couple actual submariners who are going to come. David McComb was one, and Joaquin Orio. Anyway, his son is also the same name, and I spent the afternoon catching a cold yesterday. He's going to buy the William Meredith estate, which is very good. And I'm going to get lifetime usage of the library and so forth. So it's a wonderful deal for me. I'm not paying a mortgage anymore. And I guess that's, except there's one other thing here. Of course, David and Joanne Cornell. David, there was a front page Day article about fate. and the fact that he was to have been on the Thresher, but wasn't. And so this is the fellow who replaced him, and who passed away. And yeah, so, you know, we're doing this. This isn't an ego thing for William, although I'm so honored, Michael, to have this event. You know, it's really for the dead. You know, the souls of the people who expired. They shouldn't be forgotten. That's what this is about. So that's it. I'm going to get myself a little more water, and then we're going to ask Margaret to read the Wreck of the Thresher. Give me one quick second here. Anybody else that wants water, follow along. I'm glad you're reading it, Margaret, because I couldn't get through without reading it. You know, it's a very moving poem. And the poem opens with, I stand on the rock where a rock runs into the river and more on the ground. And that's a little peninsula out into the Thames River where William stood and thought about the dead that day. That's where it was set physically.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. It's in your program, the poem.
So this wonderful, very stately, and at the same time intimate poem by William Meredith. The Wreck of the Thresher, lost at sea, April 10, 1963. I stand on the ledge where rock runs into the river as the night turns brackish with mourning and mourn the drowned. Here the sea is diluted with river. I watch it slabber like a dog curing of rabies. Its ravening over lick-spittle ocean nuzzles the dry ground. But the dream that woke me was worse than the sea's gray slip-slap. There are no such sounds by day. This crushing of people is something we live with. Daily, by unaccountable whim or caught up in some harebrained scheme of death, tangled in cars dropped from the sky in flame, men and women break the pledge of breath. And now underwater, gone all jetsam and small in the pressure of oceans collected, a squad of brave men in a hall. Why can't our dreams be content with the terrible fact? The only animal cursed with responsible sleep, we trace disaster always to our own acts. I met a monstrous self trapped in the black deep. All these years, he smiled, I've drilled at sea for this crush of water. Then he saved only me. We invest ships with life. Look at a harbor at first light. With better grace than men in their movements, the vessels run to their labors, working the fields that the tide has made green again. Their beauty is womanly. They are named for ladies and queens, although by a wise superstition, these are called after fish, the finned boats, silent and submarine. The crushing of any ship has always been held in dread, like a house burned or a great tree felled. I think of how sailors laugh, as if cold and wet and dark and lost were their private funny derision. And I can judge then what dark compression astonishes them now, their sunken faces set unsmiling, where the current sluice to and fro, and without humor, somewhere northeast of here and below. Sea brothers, I lower to you the ingenuity of dreams, strange lungs and bells to escape in. Let me stay aboard last. We amend our dreams in half sleep. Then it seems easy to talk to the severe dead and explain the past. Now they are saying, do not be ashamed to stay alive. You have dreamt nothing that we do not forgive. And gentlier, study something deeper than yourselves, as how the heart, when it turns diver, delves and saves. Whether we give assent to this or rage is a question of temperament and does not matter. Some will has been done past our understanding, past our guilt surely, equal to our fears. Dullards, we are set again to the cryptic blank page where the sea schools us with terrible water. The noise of a boat breaking up and its men is in our ears. The bottom here is too far down for our sounding. The ocean was salt before we crawled to tears.
Margaret is current Connecticut Poet Laureate. In case I didn't mention that on the read that. And now let's hear from Cynthia Willower, who her prayer, which she wrote for 2014, is included in the program as well. I hope that's okay. You took liberties there, but.
A beautiful reading. Beautifully. The poem captures it all, and this is just extension of the sadness and the hope. Let us pray. O God, in whom we live and move and have our being, you are never nearer to us than when we delight or when we sorrow. It's appropriate then that we take time in this season of Thanksgiving to draw up the memory of brave men and a ship of our town and region lost at sea. For many of us gathered this day, those who boarded the Thresher more than 50 years ago were family, friends, neighbors. We pray that these, your beloved children, have risen and will rise again from the death, perhaps the recurring deaths inflicted upon their hopes and dreams when men they loved met death at sea. And for those of us who knew them from a more distant view of the hope the Thresher held for the Navy, the shipyards, the region, the nation, and for the bitter contradiction of this hope when the ship went down, may we also be drawn to and held by new life in your love. And nearest and dearest to our hearts this day are the captain and crew of the Thresher, for whose souls we petition your perpetual blessing. Hold us in trust that each in your realm is with us too, as we keep alive the dreams that called the men we loved to in proud and self-sacrificing defense of our land plumb the deep. We ask, O God of limitless mercy, that you bless the communion of all souls this day of remembrance, and even forevermore. Amen.
I think I mentioned that Stoyman Stoylov is a Bulgarian master etcher, and he had produced some wonderful underwater abstract images. And the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans, they had a lot of Norman Rockwell in their office, and they wanted something realistic. So here we have them, here they are, the four guys. And that blue line, I'm not sure what that means, whether it's air or fate or the cracking of the ship or what have you. But there's the captain, John W. Harvey, at the bottom there with his captain's hat on. And the image on the right is called Sea Guardian. And she's standing in front of a lighthouse. And in the lower image, there she is kind of harvesting the dead, you know, bringing them to some future life. So, I guess that's all I wanted really to say. Sarah did a great job choosing this gold frame with little bubbles in it. And this is the actual roster that was provided by the archive at the museum, the submarine museum, who came is here. He's in charge of that. So, if I've forgotten anybody in this account, please let me know. But you are all so welcome. And this letter-bound book back there is called The Wreck of the Thresher, and it was given by the Mystic Seaport to the Foundation. And any individual who wants a copy should take a copy. In the back of it is a nice journal. You can keep a journal, whatever you want to use it for. And on page 42 in that book is actual photograph images of the wreckage of the Thresher on the floor of the ocean. It's a picture of an oxygen tank and a propeller that looks like a crucifix from my imagination. So this is it. These guys are, forever and ever, I hope, will be remembered by City Hall. And I'm extremely grateful that Michael Passero made this happen. It's really, I know there's a big memorial in Washington and so forth, but this is perfect, I think, for us here. It's small and intimate, and I guess that's it. I don't know where we are for time, but I should say that if you want to continue to chat about what you're up to these days, we can meet over at the La Luna, which is a nice restaurant in the Holiday Inn, a couple blocks away here. And they have a happy hour, it's a very good happy hour. You know, have a bite and martini or whatever. But it's Friday night. And again, my deepest gratitude to everybody coming, and especially for Michael Passero for, making this happen.
Great job.
Yes.
I can swear by La Luna's happy hour. What you drink, you get a complimentary appetizer, because you can see we're not equipped to have a reception here. And it's actually only one block, so for those capable, you don't have to leave.
I have handicapped plates and my dog's in the car, so I'm going to drive over.
It's been a long week and a long Friday.
Right.
I'm ready for that first glass of wine.
Yeah, there you
I don't know what anybody else.
Anybody want to say anything?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You flooded, did I forget anything? You didn't mention yourself. I would just like to thank Richard for arranging this and also the mayor. But as Richard's heart is really in this, and I just want to commend him for gathering us together for this wonderful moment.
Thank you, Margaret. Judah is filming this as the vice president of the foundation, and Tim Cummings is one of our board members. So we're pretty well represented here for
What's the name of the foundation?
the William Meredith Foundation.
Okay.
.org. And this YouTube will be on it at some point. We'll be able to see it. I guess that's it. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you again for your passion. It really,
of